Well, good morning. And as you can see, I have shaved my head. It's a very different look. I haven't had a haircut like this for probably over 15 years. So this is really a throwback look for those who know me or may remember that I used to get haircuts like this. And it's a pretty significant change, I'm not going to lie. And it's going to take a bit of convincing, but I'm pretty happy with how it's come up. So shout out to my hairdresser. But I will say that this beard is probably not going to last long. So by the time that this video is uploaded, the beard will be gone. Speaking of change, I've been reflecting on this concept of change. And no, it hasn't led me to shave my head, but there's been a fair bit going on and things are changing at the moment. I was having lunch at Forage in Strathfield in what is their final week of trading. It was a cafe and a place that this area really needed because there just wasn't a place like it. It's going to be a big change and it's been very busy. A lot of people really supported this business. The amount of families that go there, it was such a good community spot. And I think it was a really good representation of Strathfield itself. And so it's going to be a pretty big change when a place like that no longer exists. And it's going to be a bigger change when apparently it gets replaced with a supermarket. But that example, chief amongst them, as well as other examples in my life and what's happening in the world, it is a really good opportunity to reflect on change and what change means. And there are two thoughts that I want to put out there on the concept of change. The first one is pretty well known, it's pretty universal, and that is that change is inevitable. Kind of like a cafe making a way for a supermarket in a growing community. It just felt like that was going to happen, whether it was right or wrong. But we can look at plenty of other examples where change can be great. It makes people better off. It makes our lives better, much easier. And we would do anything to make those changes to make everything a little bit better for each and every one of us. And then there's change that is pretty difficult to accept. We won't go into sad ones, but they're pretty obvious when things change and we have to move on. Yeah, it can be difficult, but in the long term, we move on, we find new opportunities and whatnot. So change is inevitable, but it's an opportunity to pursue something different. Another thought I want to put out there is this idea that while things change, some things stay the same, especially in times where everything does seem a bit chaotic and it creates a level of anxiety or uncertainty as to what the purpose is. But when you're clear on what your goals are, it doesn't matter what the change is as long as you're moving forward with purpose and intent towards achieving those goals. You can also be comfortable with making changes here and there. If one change works and that helps you move forward, then you go with that. And if a change doesn't work, you don't go, oh, well, it didn't work, so I may as well give up. You go, well, okay, what else can I try? What else can I do? An example of that would be this vlog. In the last episode, I spoke about wanting to change and thinking about how I'm going to change, particularly to better tell my story and produce the content that I really want to. So for me, one of the things I want to achieve this weekend is look at my goals again and try to make them more specific and also really commit to those goals fully, to write them down properly, to plaster them around the house, to make them even clearer in my mind and think about the ways that I want to start achieving those goals. With all that said, I better get going. I'm backing up for the third week in a row for the Golden Square Rezzies, and we're playing Eaglehawk in the Borough. The team we're playing is second on the ladder, so this will be the toughest of the 3 games that I've played so far. But it looks pretty sunny out there. It is pretty chilly. Should be a good day at the footy, and I hope to achieve a fair bit this weekend, tidy up around the house, do a few bits and pieces around town, and as I said before, mapping out my goals and being clearer on what I want to achieve. So let's get stuck into it. I've just done a bit of a walk to the power lines just to clear my mind. It's been a pretty relaxed weekend. It's pretty much just been me looking after the dogs. Kate was off playing for Warwick in the netball, so opportunity for me to just focus on a couple of things. Pulled up okay from the footy, although my foot's a bit sore. I got trodden on, but we lost by 2 points. I just got off to a really good start and we were able to get back into the game. Did our best, but just wasn't able to get the job done. But a lot of positives to take out of that game. We head into a bye next week, so a bit of a rest for the guys and we'll see how we go. And like most Saturdays after footy, just crashed for the night. Had some Maccas, which I don't normally do. Probably won't be doing that again. And in terms of this morning, got up, watched the replay of Night of Champions, the PLE, the WWE. Some interesting results there. See how they're building up for SummerSlam, so that'll be interesting. But did a few chores. But importantly, what I did was spend some time outside, jotting down some thoughts, thinking about some of the goals that I want to achieve, and just thinking about how I'm going to map it out. Because like with all changes that we need to make, and with all change in general, sometimes there are changes you can make that are instant and will have an instant impact, but then there are some changes you need to make which will have an impact over time. And like previous episodes of this vlog, you can try to do as much all at once, but sometimes it's better to pace things out. So what I've been able to do is work out a couple of things that I want to change, when best to make those changes, and start chipping away at them week by week. And over the course of the next few weeks, I want to share exactly what those goals are, exactly how I'm going to go about making those changes, and track the progress from there. And even for this vlog, wanting to shift things a bit more in the right direction. And I guess mentally just having that trigger of a end of financial year, not that it means too much or that I don't want to over corporatize this vlog, but it's a little opportunity to create some new opportunities and I guess to start a new journey. So I think that's probably an apt way to finish this episode. I want to look back at this episode and look at it as an episode where I'm reflecting on a time in my life where I have been thinking about the changes that I want to make. I've had a bit of experience now with vlogging, 11 episodes in, which is at least one more episode than my previous project, which didn't go so well. And yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity to take stock of what I've learned, start implementing some changes, and start moving further towards my goals. Now that I've written them out in a clearer way, so that I know what I'm working towards. Just avoid this puddle here, pretty muddy. And yeah, start building the systems to achieve those goals. So yeah, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.